Hi everyone! In this video, I want to talk to you about how to prevent a relapse. Okay, so in case you're not familiar with what a relapse is in affair recovery, the dictionary describes relapse as returning back to bad behavior. So in affair recovery, what a relapse means is that you have ended your affair, or your affair partner did, it doesn't matter. You ended your affair and somehow or another you find yourself back together. Have you ever felt like you have tried to end your affair, you tried to go on a break, you tried to stop talking to them, you even tried to stop stalking them on Facebook or any of those things, only to find yourself back together again? The break didn't last long, one of you would call the other, and you just found yourself, okay, well, we're right back where we started. And the time frame for that is not even an issue. It doesn't matter, because some affairs, they'll end it for a couple of years and then they wind up getting back together. I've heard, it can go up to like 5 years or maybe even longer, and the couple winds up getting back together. So, but what you want to do is you want to learn how to prevent relapse. You don't want to keep having these relapses. You want to go into recovery and actually recover, because it becomes a cycle. The more we end so every time we end the affair and then we try to get back together with them, we're just reinforcing this chemical bond. And the problem with that is it becomes stronger each time you get back together. You can think of it like this as an example. If you break a bone, that bone heals and calcium forms around it, so it's actually stronger than it was before. And it's the same way with relapse. So you break up, you have that break, and then you get back together. Well, that bond becomes stronger. So you want to prevent this cycle. You want to stop or break free from the cycle even. So I want to share with you some things that I believe will help you prevent a relapse. So what you want to first do is the first thing, you want to build an outer fence around yourself. You want to protect your outer part of you, your physical behavior, and then we'll get to your inner behavior, your inner man, your heart life. So your outer behavior, to prevent yourself from having a relapse, you want to have an accountability partner, a friend that you can talk to. And I know this is not always feasible, especially if you are the unfaithful spouse. People don't really want to talk to you about, your suffering, because you've caused so much. So why do you have a problem? It's that kind of thing. They don't have a lot of sympathy. But, you want to find someone that will be there for you, that can listen and help you and help tell you no. They help talk you off the ledge in case you have your phone in your hand and you're like, I'm about to call them, and you're like, no, don't. So you want to have that. You want to go to counseling. It's good to go to counseling, and they can give you tools and help you, heal. Coaching is a great way to get through affair recovery. I offer coaching because I'm a certified infidelity coach, so I offer coaching. I always suggest that. I think it's great. My husband and I went to therapy. I was in therapy alone. It really did, help bring about some clarity. Find a support group of other women who have had an affair and who can, y'all can support each other and build you up. I have a support group. I will leave the link down below. I know they're hard to find because, a lot of people, like I said, everything is kept on the down low for the unfaithful spouse, and then we just sit and suffer in silence, and there's no one to help us. So I have that for you. Another thing you want to do is you want to learn what your external high risk factors are. And what I mean by that is what around you is a high risk of you falling back into the affair. So for example, do you see him at the gym? Do you see him at church? Do you work with him? These are your external high risk factors of having a relapse. Okay, so figure out what these are for you and try to change up your schedule. So if it's a gym, go at a different time. If it's a church, maybe go at a different, service. There's just some different things that you can take to prevent yourself from having and falling back into a relapse. If you work with him, because I know a lot of people work with their affair partner, if you work with him, then you want to have a plan in place. You want to have a script in your mind that you already know what you're going to say if you run into him. You want to have it where you make sure that you keep things very professional. You want to be prepared. So if you work with them, you want to be prepared. Even if you don't, prepare. It's better to prepare than to fall flat on your face, and that's terrible. Okay, so the next thing I want to tell you is, if you want to learn how to build a fence around your heart, you want to now figure out what your internal risk factors are. So for me, that means that emotionally, not just if he's placed in front of you physically, how would you handle it, but what emotions do you find yourself in that causes you to want to seek him? So for example, are you hungry and you find yourself wanting to call him more? Because hungry, angry, lonely, tired, and bored are definitely some things that we feel that can make us want to reach out to our affair partner. For me, my internal risk factors were, whenever my husband and I would fight, I would always resort back to thinking about my affair partner, or it would always put a temptation, to reach out to him. And I never wanted to give into that. Even if he would have said, okay, the affair's over and I don't want to be with you anymore, that's fine. But I don't want to even give into the temptation to reach out to him, because again, I'm trying to walk in integrity. I'm trying to become a better person and build my character, because I want my character to reflect Christ. So, even if I'm tempted, I still don't want to give into that temptation, even if he rejects me. It's like, take him out the picture, take the affair partner out the picture. It's about you and your heart and knowing who you want to be and knowing who God is for you in this season. So that's one thing that I want you to think about. What emotion do you feel that causes you to want to reach out to him the most? What's going on in your life when you just feel so overwhelmed that you have to talk to him? That's the emotion you want to attack. That's your internal risk factor that needs to be protected. It needs to be guarded. It needs to be where you find something else that will replace that, something that will deter you from calling him when you feel that way. And sometimes just the fact of knowing will help you say no to the temptation. So, when me and my husband would fight, and once I realized that when we fight and I was upset, that's when I felt like I wanted to call him, or reach out to him. Once I learned that, it helped me to realize, hey, you're just feeling this way because you're upset with your husband. It's not necessarily that you really want to talk to him, you're just upset. So that it's always a good thing to find out what's going on internally. Another thing is, and I only have time for one more, but I'm going to leave the link to the blog post down below where you can go and read the rest of how to build your outer and inner fences. But this one is good. Don't continue the affair in your head, because if you continue the affair in your head, most likely your thoughts are going to lead you back to the affair. Because one of my favorite master coaches called Brooke Castillo, she always talks about how our thoughts control our emotions control our actions, and then we get results. So if you're continuing the fantasy in your head, that means your head is full of thoughts about them, and then it's gonna stir up those loving emotions inside of you, and those missing him and all of that, and then it's gonna produce a reaction, which could possibly be, hey, I miss you, and he could possibly say, I miss you too, and the result of you missing each other could be a reunion, and we're trying to prevent that. So ending the fantasies in your head is definitely one way to guard against an affair relapse. Okay, so I hope that you found this video helpful. Like I said, I will leave some more information down below for you to go check out the rest of the blog. But the one thing that is good to remember is that relapse can happen, and when we load ourselves up with knowledge and we apply that knowledge, we come out stronger and we have more power. We become more in control of what is going on than instead of allowing our emotions to control us. And that is our goal. We want to control our emotions. We don't want to live about how we feel. You know, we don't want to be blown about by every wind, every feeling, everything that comes up. You know, I'm high today, I'm low tomorrow, you know, so I'm going to base all my decisions on this. No, we want to take control of that. And once we can take control of our emotions, we can definitely start to feel our power come back and prevent relapse. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. Let me know if you have some ideas on how you prevented relapse or if you're struggling, and we'll talk about it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.